I've been noticing a trend lately, and maybe you've noticed it too. Let me show you what I've been seeing. So why does every company want to talk to you? And these aren't voice assistants. They're not having a conversation with you. Every one of those is just a button that turns your voice into text. It's just transcription. And that's a strange amount of consensus for something you could just type. Voice is the second most important step you'll take in AI, aside from just starting. And almost nobody's taken it yet. I'm going to show you why, and by the end of this, you'll have everything you need to stop typing and start talking. And the whole thing starts with something you probably don't realize you're doing. Okay, so every app has a microphone button. But am I actually missing anything by just typing? So when you type, you edit. Here's what happens. You think about what you want. You have this whole thought, messy, full of reasons and qualifiers and second guessing yourself. And then before your fingers even touch the keys, you begin editing it. You compress it down to something you type, the short version, something that you're okay with just typing out, and you hand over the highlight reel and leave everything else in your head. You believe, and this is the key part, that the sharper and more precise you can make your request, the better the response you'll get. It's how we've been told to write forever. And if you think about it, it's the way we've been trained to search things like Google. With AI, that instinct is wrong. What you're actually doing is scraping off the most important part. I mean, you can always type the what you want done, and you can type the how, like how you want it to be done, but the why, your reason, your emotionality, the thing that makes this request different from every other version of it, that's what gets cut. And that's the one human thing these systems cannot create on their own. Your intent has to be in the message. When you type, you edit. When you edit, you scrape off your intent. The mess is the treasure. Now, I'm not going to pretend this always matters. If your question is like one sentence, type it, say it, same thing, it doesn't matter. But the moment you have more than a sentence to say, that's when everything changes. All right, let's say you need help with an email turning down a meeting. Typing, you'd probably write something like, help me decline this meeting politely. But talking, you might naturally say something like, help me decline this meeting. It's with my skip level and I don't want to seem dismissive, but I've genuinely got a conflict and I've already moved this meeting twice. You probably wouldn't type all of that. Not because you couldn't, but because when you type, you just go shorter. You default to less. When you say it out loud, your brain just keeps going. And now the model knows exactly what tone to hit. All those AI companies with their microphone buttons, they're not adding a convenience feature. They figured out that voice is how your why gets in, the intent, the reason, everything you'd leave in your head if you were typing. So if it's that clear, why aren't you doing it? Because it's uncomfortable. And I get that, because it's uncomfortable for me too. Okay, I get it. But I just can't see myself talking to my computer. Talking to your computer is weird. It doesn't matter that it's the better input. It doesn't matter that every AI company on the planet is begging you to do it. It can just be awkward. And our society really hasn't pivoted to this yet. We will, but right now it's still strange. Look, you might have heard like OpenAI and other groups are coming up with glasses or earbuds or pins or things like that that we're going to be able to talk with all of the time. This is about to be a real thing. But right now, when you're doing it on your own, it's still awkward. Look, I talk out loud constantly. I'm a creator and I use AI with voice all day. But if someone is around, I'm still frankly embarrassed by it. You'd think I'd be over it by now, but I'm not. So to make this happen, like me, you might have to hack yourself a little bit. I'm not going to stand here and tell you I've got this cracked because I don't. These aren't perfect solutions. This is not a I have it all figured out and you don't situation, but there are things that help. So, first hack, carve out a space. I have a studio that's far away from everyone else. I'm blessed in that way, of course, but find a room, a corner, a time of day when nobody's around, whatever it is. The first barrier is just knowing you won't be heard. Once that's handled, force yourself to talk in those moments. No matter what you're doing, use your voice, even when you don't want to, especially when you don't want to. Use voice even for things you don't think you need to. You're training yourself. This is your hack. You're not just using a tool, you're building a habit. All right, second hack, you can whisper. Most of these tools run on a model called Whisper. It's a phenomenal model that was built by OpenAI and released a while ago. It's great at picking up quiet speech. The name is literally the hint. Pair that with earbuds designed to pick up your voice and reject the room, and now other people mostly won't hear you, so you won't feel like you're bothering anyone, and it starts to feel like you're on a phone call. Remember, we're hacking. And finally, stop editing before you speak. This is the internal one. Give yourself the grace to be messy. The ums, the circle backs, wait, no, let me rethink that. All of that is intent. If you clean it up before it leaves your mouth, you might as well have typed it. Let it be messy. That is the whole point here. And here's what makes this easier than it sounds. With AI, you're not talking to yourself. You're working with a partner. You're giving that partner more context, more meaning, more value, and you're getting more out of the interaction. You just need to find the lane where you're okay being a little messy and allow yourself to stay in it. Okay, I hear you, but how do I actually get started? Okay, I'm not going to walk through every feature of these tools. Here's what actually matters when you're picking one of these. The whole interaction is simple. You press a key, you talk, you press it again, and it lands on your clipboard. That's it. Here we go. I'm thinking about sending a note to my boss about how meaningful I am to the company and how undervalued I am. And now I paste it wherever I want. Notion, Slack, an email, a coding agent, doesn't matter. And that's actually the thing that makes this different from all those other microphone buttons we opened with. Those only work inside one app. This works everywhere, any app, any text field, anything on your machine. So make the keystroke easy and memorable. It'll become one of your most used keys. When you're looking at these tools, look for local first. Anything cloud only is slower. And when your recordings get long, mine regularly get longer than an hour, that latency becomes very noticeable. Local also means your voice stays on your machine. Some people really care about that. Nothing gets sent up, nothing gets trained on. That matters a lot. Now, this is the feature that takes these from dictation tools to something way more useful. After it transcribes, it runs your text through AI. So you saw what I call verbatim. That's just the name I gave it. That's what I showed you. It's a raw, fast, dropping exactly what I said. That's what I use when I'm working with coding agents or dumping thoughts into AI. I want speed and I want everything. But I also have a cleanup mode. It takes what I said and just lightly cleans it. It removes the filler words, organizes it into paragraphs, but keeps my actual words and thinking. That's for emails, Slack, and things like that, so I don't have to sound like I'm rambling. And you can, of course, make your own. Whatever prompt you want, professional mode for documents, a casual mode if your writing isn't your strong suit or English isn't your first language. This is huge. You speak naturally, pick the mode, and out comes a polished message. You create them, pick the one you want before you record, and it just runs. Let me very briefly show you the cleaned one that I have here. If we go into it, you can see that I am running GPT-5.2 after the Parakeet multi-language model, which is that local transcription model that's just doing dictation. It sends it up to GPT-5.2 with this prompt that says, take this speech-to-text transcript and lightly clean it up in the way we just described. This is how easy it is to just create a different one. I created one for sending messages to the boss and told it I really want this cleaned up and be positive and happy and really stroke the boss's ego. Don't know why I created this one. I say we give that one a shot. You can see here it is what mode I'm on. I'm going to switch over to the boss. Okay, hey boss, listen, thanks for inviting me to the holiday party. It was boring as hell. I thought that you said that we were going to have other people show up and it wasn't just going to be us. And I've told you before, I really don't like that TV show. I really did not enjoy that. But thank you for inviting me. I appreciate the fact that you understand that I'm away from home during the holidays. So I appreciate it, but let's do better next time. All right, and it writes the message. Done. Thank you so much for inviting me into the holiday party. I really appreciate you including me, especially knowing I'm away from home during the holidays. It genuinely meant a lot to be thought of and welcomed in. That said, I want to share a little feedback so next time can be even better. Exactly what I meant. Okay, there's one more thing. This is kind of a deep nuance in this tool that I want to hand off. The good ones keep your original audio file. If a transcription glitch happens, and it does happen from time to time, if it fails mid-recording or you get just one word repeated over and over again in your transcribe, then many of these have something like a history panel that you can go take a look at the history that you've recorded, and you can see this is what we just got, this is the response, but you can also see what the original transcription was, so this is just transcribing the message itself, and you can always come down here and transcribe it again. This happens to be for Super Whisper. This is the tool that we've been looking at, but many of them have similar features. It is a power feature to look for because some do not, and they'll only give you the processed output, and there's no way to kind of recover from that and process it with a different kind of message or a different model if you want something else. Okay, as I said, we've been looking at Super Whisper here, but there are others. I'll link to these in the description, but I also wanted to call out a really cool one called Otto. Otto, if you're on a Mac and that's the machine that you typically use, Otto was written by one of our community members here, a good friend of mine, Joseph. He spent some time building this application using AI. So this is kind of an exercise of everything that we've been talking about. Joseph has a one-time purchase price of $8. That's cheaper than almost all of the monthly fees that you would have on any of the others. So it's definitely worth putting an eye on if you're just a Mac user. It's got all the really cool features. Okay, so I do have one piece of advice on these. Look for a lifetime purchase when you can. Monthly subscriptions for something like this that is kind of just running locally anyway kind of get irritating after a period of time. And these systems already are excellent at just doing local transcription. So really paying for something in a monthly way is, to me, a little bit painful for this stuff. But that said, also take a look for something that you can kick the tires on and not have to completely spend $150 right off the bat, because how they live in your machine and how they expose themselves, they're all a little different. So really shake a few out. Going from 0 to 1 with AI was the biggest step you'll ever take, of course. But voice is the second, and almost nobody's taken it yet. It will be awkward. It's not easy. You're not likely to find that one trick that makes it effortless. At least I haven't yet, and I do this every single day for multiple hours. So try and keep trying. All of those microphones and all of those applications, they're there for a reason. It's not just a convenience. And this is just the beginning. Right now, every major company is building hardware, earbuds, glasses, or pins, or something specifically to capture your voice as intent all day. That future is coming, but you don't have to wait for it. Pick a tool, find your space, let yourself be messy. Your intent is in that mess, and your intent is what the model needs. Start talking now. Links to everything are in the description. If you're already talking to your computer, drop what you use in the comments. I want to hear what's working for people and what's not. And if this shifted how you think about it, subscribe. There's more coming. Thanks for coming along for the ride on this one, and I'll see you in the next one.